Believe it or not, one of the most common speaking challenges that I've run across over the past decade or more is what? What do you think it is? It's when people speak too fast. Fast speech. My name is Michael Williams, and we're continuing on in a series of videos. So if you're watching this video and you haven't had an opportunity to watch the other ones, then I want to encourage you to go do that. The title of this series is 7 of the most common speaking challenges people have. And when I talk about people, I'm talking about people who find themselves in speaking situations and they're feeling anxious, they're feeling nervous, they're losing their train of thought, they're getting cloudy, they're not articulating their messages clearly, they're speaking too fast, and all of these sorts of things. And these can be people who this happens to them in certain speaking situations, or it could be someone who stutters or stammers severely the way that I used to do growing up, believe it or not. So this series is for you. I want you to go back, watch the introduction, watch video 1, 2, and this is the third video where we're going to be talking about, again, one of the most common challenges, which is speaking too fast. In the last video, we talked about anxiousness and feeling rushed, which can prompt people, can motivate people to speed up, to speak too fast. But sometimes a person is not necessarily feeling anxious or rushed. It's just their habit. It's their pattern of speaking. So let's talk about some of the reasons that some people speak fast. One is it's cultural, right? It's cultural. And I'll just put number 2 here. It's a pattern, which is also true. It's a habit, right? And 3, we talked about this in the last video, anxious, rushed. They feel anxious or rushed. Okay. These are all obviously related, but for some people, because of everyone around them, because of the pacing of their language, of their particular language, there's a tendency for everyone, for most people, to speak that language quickly. Now, this is not true for all languages. It's not true for all people who speak those languages. For example, I'm very familiar with Spanish. I also work with, most of my clients have been Indian, and there are many clients that I've had from Africa, and many of my clients speak Arabic, and I've had clients just speak all different kinds of languages. And what we find is that in many countries, in many languages, people have a tendency to speak really fast, and sometimes it's super fast. So everyone in their household, everyone at their job, all their friends, everyone speaks fast. And if you have a problem, or if you're challenged with your speech, for example, if you stutter or stammer, then speaking fast can be your worst enemy. It's actually deadly to your speech. Okay? So it could be cultural, that most people around you, almost everyone around you, is speaking fast, and so you're probably going to do that too. But what that can do when you're speaking fast in certain speaking situations, and if you have a challenge, it can cause you to not articulate your thoughts or not communicate your thoughts clearly. People have a hard time understanding, especially if English is your second language, even if you grew up speaking English, but it's not the language you spoke primarily, and you're in a professional environment and you need to communicate something and you have an accent, right? You have an accent to the English speaking staff or colleagues. And if they're hearing you speak really fast, this can interfere. This can be a negative filter, and it can interfere with their understanding and receiving the content, the information that you're trying to communicate. Does that make sense? Especially when you're speaking fast. So this really isn't about getting rid of your accent. What it's about is being able to enunciate, pronounce, articulate. I like to call it articulate your thoughts clearly, despite having an accent. Keeping your accent. Accents are wonderful. You can have an accent and articulate your thoughts clearly. So cultural could be one of the reasons or sources of fast speech. Another one is that's patterns of habit. So if it's cultural, it's probably something that you are used to doing. So it's a habit. And these habits can follow you in any or in every speaking situation, meaning there could be some speaking situations in which you tend to speed up and speak faster and other ones where you don't. So if you're feeling a bit anxious and rushed in a meeting or in a presentation or an interview, you may have a tendency to speak faster to hurry up and get through it. And so what happens is you're speaking fast, you end up using a lot of filler words, you end up not clearly articulating your thoughts, you end up losing your train of thought, right? Okay, so that's a pattern. And then there are other situations in where you may speak slower because you're more relaxed. And then there are those who just speak fast almost all the time, right? Okay. And then we've kind of talked about that already. Another reason that people can speak fast, and obviously it's related to at least the second one, is just when one feels anxious, they feel rushed, or you're in a line and you're ordering something and you feel like I need to hurry up and get this out, or the person is actually rushing you, or you're on the phone and a person is asking you for your information. You feel like I have to hurry up and get this out quickly. I need to get this out now. So you begin speaking fast and stumbling and not able to say what you really want to say. So let's talk about some solutions. Now remember, I'm only giving you a little bit of this because I can't give you the whole thing in this video. It would take many videos, which I have in the self-study, in the Pro 90D, Ultimate Smooth Speech System. There are many videos, and there's a whole system that's designed to help you overcome this, to change this, to transform this. So I can only give you a little bit now, to be fair. But one of the things that you can begin to do to help yourself is to tell yourself, I don't have to rush. I can take my time and say what I want to say. So it's an affirmation. And you remind yourself, don't underestimate the power of this statement. Guess what? I don't have to rush. Slow down, take your time. I can take my time and say what I want to say. I don't have to rush, right? So that's an affirmation that you can say to yourself over and over and over again. Remember what I said in the last video, if you watched it, it's not just what you do in the moment, but it's what you do in all the moments leading up to that moment that really counts. Because if you want to change your pattern or your habit, it's going to depend on everything that you do, or the things that you do moment by moment, day by day, week by week. It actually begins to change your patterns and your habits so that in any given moment in the future, you're able to perform differently because you've been performing differently in all the moments before. So by telling yourself, I don't have to rush, I can take my time and say what I want to say, what you're doing is you're taking control. You're becoming more conscious of how you speak, and you're taking control of your speech in those moments. The other thing that you can do is, now this is more of just a way of thinking about the way that you speak. The way that you speak is you can remind yourself that you're not going to let other people determine your pacing. You're not going to let outside forces, the people around you, the people on the phone, the people behind the counter, the people in the meeting, or your own thoughts, right? Your own perceptions of what they're thinking, because they might not even be rushing you, but your own thoughts. You're not going to let that determine the pacing or your speed, right? Some people let outside forces kind of force them or cause them or motivate them to speak faster. Oh, I got to speak faster because I'm in this line and I have to hurry up, right? But no. You say, hey, I'm going to control how quickly or how slowly I speak. So if they're in a rush and say, hey, can you just hold on for 1 second? Or give me just a second, right? Or hold on a minute. You take your time so you can say what you want to say when you want to say it. So a couple of affirmations. One I gave in the last video. I can take my time and say what I want to say. I don't have to rush. I can take my time and say what I want to say. And you begin to tell yourself that, you know what? I determine my own pacing, my own speed. I'm not going to let other people determine how quickly or how slowly I speak. Keep those things in mind. If you want more and you want a systematic approach to transforming the way that you speak, your mindset, the way that you think, and your identity, how you see yourself, how you perceive yourself to be, how you believe yourself to be, you're going to want to take this action, and that is to enroll in the self-study. We'll give you a link to do that. It's the Pro 90D Ultimate Smooth Speech System. You're going to want to get into that now, because if you're struggling with your speech and you're not saying what you want to say the way that you want to say it, you're not articulating, you're not communicating clearly, you're missing out on opportunities, you're losing money, and you're not going to enjoy life as much as you could, as much as you deserve to. So, the other option is those of you who want to accelerate this whole process. If you qualify, then you'll want to work with me one-on-one. So you have two options, but take one of them now because the time is passing anyway. And the longer you wait, the more difficult it becomes for you to change these patterns and habits. Sometimes, of course, you can change them. You just don't feel like changing them because you've been doing them for so long. Or you build your identity around speaking and thinking and behaving this way. And so it's really hard to change that. So don't continue to wait and miss out. Take action now and you'll never look back. In fact, you might look back and go, wow, why didn't I do that years ago? Why didn't I find this program? I had clients say, man, I wish I had done this years ago. I wish I had found you years ago. Like, why didn't I do this? I'm so glad I did it now. Look at what I'm able to do now. I'm able to do this. People getting new jobs, starting new businesses, having better relationships, getting married, all kinds of things. Been doing this for over a decade, and it's amazing to watch the transformation. And you can watch the transformation, experience the transformation yourself, but only if you take action now. If you keep putting it off, then how much longer are you going to put it off, right? Thank you so much. My name is Michael Williams. We'll see you in the next series, in the next video.